This is a 1967 Shelby GT-500. Tucked away in a collapsing barn somewhere in the middle of Iowa. The story is that it has been like this for nearly 6 decades, which is extremely sad because, more often than not, cars in this condition are written off and scrapped. But Bob Folkestad was never going to let that happen. You see, Bob's a hardcore collector who loves to rescue iconic cars from the edge of extinction. And the moment he laid eyes on this Shelby, he knew he had to step in to salvage it. Can he do it? While Bob's intention to transform this car was great, he didn't have the skills required to restore it. And that in itself was his first big challenge because for iconic restoration projects like this one, finding a rare car is only half of the job. The real test is negotiating a fair price and figuring out if the car is even worth saving in the first place. And since Bob wasn't really great at doing those things, he hired Jeff Yurgovich from R&A Motors to help him out. As someone who has restored several Shelbys over the years, Jeff is the perfect man for the job. And his experience will definitely come in handy in transforming this GT500 from a rusted relic into a road-worthy legend. Jeff kicked things off with an appraisal, a step-by-step process to uncover the car's hidden story and evaluate its real value. For a machine that had been left to gather dust for decades, the interior was a pleasant surprise. The seats were still in good shape, and the steering wheel looked almost brand new. But things weren't so pretty on the outside. Heavy specks of dust had filled every corner of this Shelby, and the poor old thing had become a playground for animals. Elsewhere, the tires were completely flat. The fender and quarter panel were dented. And the engine needed some tender, loving, and caring. Putting all of that into consideration, Jeff concluded that this Shelby GT-500 was worth between $60,000 and $70,000. Bob felt it was fair to pay something in between, so he agreed to buy the car for $65,000. A few signed documents and handshakes later, the team was on the move. They aired up the dead tires, rolled the Shelby onto a trailer, and hauled it straight to the R&A workshop, where the real work was about to begin. Upon arrival, Jeff collected and saved some of the car's 40-year-old dust. But for what it's worth, that bag of dust will be a constant reminder of how long the car was abandoned. With that out of the way, it was time to get down to business. First off, they gave this Shelby GT-500 a good bath right there on the trailer. And honestly, even with just soap and water, this beast was starting to glow and shine through all those years of neglect. Seeing such improvements so early in the restoration is encouraging, but Bob and Jeff refused to get carried away because the restoration was only just getting started. Here's Jeff conducting a detailed assessment on the engine and underfloor. As expected, he found some good things to savor and many things to worry about. Aside from the engine, the rocker panels and steering dampener bracket and the splash shield weren't in great condition. And I could say the same about the exterior, but that's about to change because Bob has something planned out already. Right now, the car is at Perks Auto Spa, where it's about to undergo a thorough detailing operation performed by a renowned expert named Bob Perkins. There you go, a close-range image of this Shelby GT-500, showing the stark difference between when it arrived at the auto spa and after Perkins had completed his work on it. Honestly, words can't describe just how good the result looks. Perkins definitely outdid himself on this one, and at the end of it all, his name will be in the Hall of Fame of people who contributed immensely to the success of this restoration. But that success is still a few repairs and modifications away. Back at the R&A workshop, Bob and Jeff turned up the heat with some serious teardown and rebuild. They ripped off the rear bumper and seats, giving them access to refresh the carpet and chase down rust hiding in the interior. Once that was settled, they wasted no time moving on to the next challenge on their list. The main focus here was the engine, which required an in-depth transformation after decades of inaction. but other critical mechanical components were not left out as well. With the heart of the car now restored, Bob and Jeff moved to tackle the body. Usually, this is the part where the restorers have the most fun. But that wasn't exactly the case for Jeff and Bob. Right off the bat, they were caught between two tough decisions: sanction a new paint job from the ground up, or repaint only the sections that weren't original. After comparing the pros and cons of both options, they settled for the latter. With this makeshift paint job session now completed, it was time to put the pieces together and see how this Shelby moves. But before then, let's take a step back to explore its origin. The 1967 Shelby GT-500 is the wild cousin of the 1967 Ford Mustang Fastback. Built on the same platform, the two share some similarities, but the GT-500 earned a reputation of its own. With a roaring 428 cubic inch V8 under the hood, it unleashed up to 355 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque, making it one of the most aggressive machines of its era. In terms of performance, those numbers were revolutionary at the time, giving the Shelby GT-500 a significant advantage on the track and even in the showroom, because customers were sold on the incredible speed it offered, and many craved a first-hand experience. In addition to its impressive performance, the GT-500 is very unique. It is the last Shelby model to be manufactured at the original Shelby American Workshop in Venice, California, and just over 2,000 units were produced in total. Each one is distinguished by a collection of well-crafted elements, including a fiberglass hood, aggressive front fascia, upper and lower side scoops, and a distinctive rear spoiler. Thanks to its rare mix of distinctive features and a spec sheet that made other cars nervous, the GT-500 quickly cemented its place as one of the true icons of 1960s muscle car culture. Now it's time to see if this one at the R&A workshop will carry on that legacy. Piece by piece, Bob and Jeff carefully reassembled this Shelby from ground up, and now there was only one question on their mind. Will the engine come alive? The first attempt was unsuccessful, but Jeff wasn't about to give up. Clearly, the engine was doing its best to start, but for some reason it couldn't. So Jeff made a few adjustments and launched another attempt. And this time, he got a roaring response. Exactly what he and the entire restoration team were hoping for. For Bob and Jeff, that sound was pure relief, and the clearest sign yet that this car was ready to hit the road. Of course, it wasn't perfect. If you look closely, you will notice that it still has some scars from its past life. That includes pinholes, rust spots, and even an Iowa inspection sticker from January 1973. Jeff and Bob could have easily wiped them away, but they didn't. Because this restoration wasn't about creating a spotless ride. It was about reviving a legend while preserving its story. In many years to come, those scars and imperfections will serve as a reminder of how this GT-500 survived decades of abandonment and the hard work it took to restore it. There she is, the fully restored 1967 Shelby GT-500 thundering down the road after years of silence. It's a proud moment for everyone involved in the project, but most especially for Bob. You can tell he truly understands what it means to own a classic car, and we can't thank him enough for spending his time and money to give this GT-500 another shot at life. What's your favorite part of the restoration? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check out the channel for other interesting restoration videos like this one.